Assalamualaikum to our lecturer ZULKIFLI, and today me and my friends will present our research report titled The Factors Contribution to Students' Mental Well-being Among Students in Faculty of Education in UiTM Puncak Alam, Selangor. My name is NURHIDAYAH BINTI SHARIYAL, and first I will explain about the background of study of this research. Based on IAU 2020, the researcher has found about 1.5 billion school-going and university students have been suffering because of institutional closure due to COVID-19 outbreak. Moreover, it resulting an education sector to be altered dramatically with the notable emergence of e-learning, or also known as open distance learning (ODL). There are some factors that contributed to the negative side of online distance learning (ODL) during pandemic for students, especially their mental well-being. Mental well-being is divided into few types, but the main focuses that related to the most of students nowadays are anxiety and depression. Therefore, some research has shown level of stress and anxiety among university students that related to academic, health and lifestyle issues are getting higher during COVID-19 pandemic. There are 5 variables in this research that consist of 4 independent variables and 1 dependent variables. For independent variables, it consists of financial constraints, the loss of physical well-being, communication and also motivation. And for dependent variables, which is students' mental well-being. Other than that, there are 4 research objectives and 4 research questions that has been conducted in this study.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is WAHIDA. I'm going to present the problem statement. So we move to the first issue. The first issue is financial concern. This pandemic outbreak has extensive consequences for social order and the economy. In the first 3 months of COVID-19, the economy suddenly collapsed with record increases in unemployment, causing financial difficulty for many families. So therefore, this has put a lot of pressure on students who are self-sponsored since their family income had been disrupted due to the pandemic wave, and since they are fully dependent on their parents' aid, especially in financial support. For the next issue that contributes to the students' mental well-being during COVID-19 is their loss of physical health, for example, neck pain, back pain, and many more. Due to the government restrictions, students cannot do outdoor activities to release their stress. Besides, since students have to adapt with ODL, they prefer to study in bed or floor without tables. This also led to difficulty in the appropriateness of ergonomic that might also have influence on their physical and mental well-being. Besides, as a result of this outbreak, students were ordered to adapt to online distance learning instead of physical learning. Despite the online distance learning is one of the best methods during this pandemic situation, it somehow could also trigger students' mental health. Students cannot concentrate during online classes, especially when it related to communication. They also feel left out in academic and feel distracted. This result might lead to poor mental well-being for students. Last but not least, the problems that occurs during ODL, students' mental health has been impacted by a lack of interest in class due to a variety of circumstances, such as a lack of motivation. Well, that is deeply concerning because students are unable to cope with the stress of ODL because they are forced to do so on their own. So basically, during COVID-19, students are having problems with academic workload due to multiple assignments with no flexible deadlines, level of difficulty of the assignment, and meeting course requirement, which has been classified as academic workload. This seems to have an impact on the students' motivation. That's all from me. I will pass to NURAIDA to present about literature review. Thank you.
Thank you, Farah. My name is SYAFINA as the third presenter. Today, I will present about Chapter 2, which is Literature Review. In order to ensure our research proposals are reliable and have useful information, we have used many journal articles from reliable sources. One of the journals that we use is College Students' Mental Health Problems and Treatment Consideration, that being written by Petrelli et al. 2014. In this article, the author has stated that mental well-being are happening due to the hard time that being faced by students because they had to learning how to cope with academic pressure. Not only that, the author has included some studies as a proof that students' mental well-being have been affected during pandemic. There were also journal articles that we use in getting more information about the factors that contribute to the student mental well-being. It is included with the journal article that been written by Haji Wahab and Othman 2021. In this article, they mention even before the pandemic, financial element was one of the most important prioritized for students, especially at the higher learning institution level. Next, I will move on to the part 2, which is theoretical framework. As you can see, this is the illustration of conceptual framework that would be found throughout this research. This is found from the independent and dependent variables in this study. The last part that I will explain today is research hypothesis. Since this research has 4 independent variables, the research hypothesis also will be 4. Hypothesis 1 shows that there is significant relationship between financial constraints and students' mental well-being. While for hypothesis 2, there is significant relationship between loss of physical well-being and students' mental well-being. Next, hypothesis 3 and 4 are showing the significant relationship between motivation and communication with students' mental well-being. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul and AFIQAH binti Azemi, and today I will further explain about sampling method. The first thing that all of you need to know is the purpose of this study, which to identify causal research relationship factors contributed to student mental well-being among final year student in Faculty of Education in UiTM Puncak Alam. The type of investigation that involved in this study is correlational investigation that indicates at least 2 concepts or variables move simultaneously. The correlational investigation has been applied because we want to know to which extent the factors are valid and reliable. Next, the interference of this study is minimal because there will be no interfere with the normal activities of the work since the survey was conducted online. The study setting for this study is in the natural setting where work goes on normally, such as in the non-controlled environment. Furthermore, the unit of analysis for this study is individual. Study is done in a short-term period, and the research design for this study be a single cross-sectional design because we only be collecting data from a single sample. The population for this study is students from Faculty of Education in UiTM Puncak Alam, and the sample size is 100 students of Faculty Education in UiTM Puncak Alam. While for survey instruments, the questionnaires were created in Google Forms. Last but not least, the plan for data analysis, we were using Statistical Product and Service Solution (SPSS). For this study statistical analysis, we analyze the data received from respondent using a correlation analysis. For missing values, there is no missing value analysis in this study because the respondents be able to answer all the questions. Bear with me for demographic. For gender in this study, dominated by female with 55.8% compared to male, and they are mostly from Part 5 students. 24% of these participants of this study are students from Bachelor of Education Honours Physical and Health Education. Through the study, we found that 47.1% students feels like ODL has a negative effect on their mental well-being as general. However, the rate of their mental well-being is somewhat good with 35.6%.
Assalamualaikum, my name is NURFIQA binti KARIM, and I will take part on finding and results for this study. So first, I will explain regarding on the NURAIDA test that we conduct through SPSS software. So based on the visualization data given, we could observe that all the data samples in independent variables are fall under normal distribution with the skewness and kurtosis value result that we could find. Next, let's take a look on reliability test. So according to Scholar, 0.6 to 0% indicate acceptable degree of reliability, while 0.8 or above considered as good level of reliability. Next, I will bring viewers to see that is our result is fulfilled with our hypothesis of study that just explained by my team previously. So for the first hypothesis is referred to the first IV, which is financial constraint. So based on the level agreement of FC, we could see that majority of respondents answer all questions in average, which is close to 3 as in mean. 3 here meaning that our respondents feel average about financial concern factors that could associate with their mental well-being. For further tests, we conduct a correlation analysis. R had been indicated as correlation value. So first variable, we could find that R value is 0.512, which refers as high correlation to the dependent variable, and it has moderate uphill linear positive relationship with mental well-being, which is our DV. Since it has high correlation of variable, so we conduct another test, which is coefficient. By having coefficient, we could identify that this variable has significant value or not with dependent variable. From the result, we obtain that its significant value, which is P value, is 0.000, that below 0.05, which is best explained that financial constraints are positively significant related to student mental well-being. Hence, our first hypothesis we made is accepted. Second hypothesis is referred to other variable, which is loss in physical well-being. Refer to the level of agreement in the bar chart visualization, we could conclude that majority of respondents feel agree, which is near to 4 than to our statement in this variable. And for correlation analysis, we identify that PW has medium correlation level with DV, which is 0.410, and it possesses moderate uphill linear positive relationship, which is similar with variable 1 result. For P value result in coefficient test, it has a 0.000, which is below 0.05, that physical well-being also positively significant that related to dependent variable. Thus, second hypothesis we made is could be accepted through the result. Third hypothesis, which is referred to our third variable, which is communication. Observe the mean of level agreement in the bar chart for each question in communication variable, we could conclude that majority of respondents choose average answer, which is close to 3 in all of question in the variable. And this is convey the meaning that respondents are certain or unsure either this is become one factor or not that affect their mental well-being. Conducting another test of correlation, we could identify that this variable obtain negative 0.166, which is low correlation level, and it's a very weak downhill linear negative relationship. For P value, we obtain that it is 0.383, which is had more than 0.05, that clearly proven that communication variable is not significant to student mental well-being. Hence, we decided this hypothesis 3 cannot be accepted since there is no significant relationship with the dependent variable. Last hypothesis is referred to our fourth variable, which is motivation. Refer to the bar chart, we could conclude that most of students respond average or neutral answer to all statements given, which closely to 3. For R value, we could obtain is negative 0.164, which is fall under low correlation value, and it is a very weak downhill linear negative relationship. For the test, which is coefficient test, we identified that its significant value is 0.409, which is clearly more than 0.05. Thus, hypothesis number 4 we decided cannot be accepted. Next, let's take a look on regression analysis testing. Process of performing a regression allows us to confidently determine which factor matter most, which factors can be ignored, and how these factors influence each other. As in table above, which is model summary of our regression analysis, focus on R square. So this R square indicates all independent variables that explain only 37.2%, which is same as 0.372 contributed to the variance of dependent variable, which is student mental well-being. It also concluded that another 62.8% of student mental well-being unable to be explained by all these variables, and their mental well-being may be determined by other factors too. And refer to Durbin-Watson value is 1.320, which indicate that our model is fixed as rule of thumb DW mentioned. If the value is more than 1, it is relatively normal and in acceptable range. So I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
In conclusion, this research that focuses on factors affecting mental health was completed in less than a month. We were successful in accomplishing the objective of our research project, which was to identify the factors that contribute to the mental health of UiTM Puncak Alam final year students. Besides, we were able to identify the factors that have a major impact on the mental health of students.